Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin, and you're bringing you yet another BWC game. This is going to be another PvZ. I do recognize this matchup, along with ZVZ, has been rather popular in recent weeks on my channel. Do forgive me. Terrans seem to just be falling off the map right now in terms of tournament placement. I would argue that right now Zerg is indeed overpowered. The Broodlord Infestor combination, when reached in late game PvZ and late game ZVT, well, ZVP and ZVT, if you understand what I'm saying, is virtually unbeatable when executed well by a skilled player. So if two players of equal skill level play against each other and the Zerg is able to reach Hive Tech and get his Broodlord Infestor out, there's no feasible way in the current state of the metagame for the Protoss player to counter it. And the same applies to ZVT to a lesser degree, as we saw in the finals of MVP versus Life in GSL Season 4 of this year. Most of the games Life won were because of the Broodlord Infestor composition. As you can see in the current PvZ metagame, there's a lot of Immortal Sentry timings that aim to kill the Zerg before he's able to even get to lair. Mostly Hive. It focuses on pre-Hive timings. There's some 3-base Creator Prime timings that a lot of players are executing. But the players in our match, this is from the group stages of the BWC. There's Gamania Sen, who is the Blue Zerg spawning at the bottom right of Ohana. He is a Taiwanese Zerg player on Gamma Bear, which is a Taiwanese team. He was on Fnatic a couple years ago. Up against the enigmatic Grubby, a Netherlands Protoss player, who's the red Protoss at the top left. He's under sole sponsorship, or as he calls it, his personal team, Team Grubby, which is composed of uniquely himself. But Grubby practice when he's able to get a good practice regime going and a focus entirely on playing, because he does cast at some events, he plays very, very well. In some recent tournaments, he has pulled some upsets. I'm not going to speculate about his BWC results, but I forget that in IEM Singapore, which was held a couple weeks after this, he went to the finals and lost in the very, very last game to the Korean player Sting. He was able to take out MC in 3-2 in a PvP series, and then he took out Slivko 3-2, a Russian Zerg, and lost to Sting, who's formerly on NSH, New Star Hoseo, and who's now on... He is now on Western Wolves, but he's a very strong Korean Terran, so I was kind of rooting for Grubby in that tournament. He always seems to be the underdog toss, but I like when he delivers. But Sen, on the other hand, is a strong Taiwanese Zerg. He's apparently been condemned by Day9 to always finish third in tournaments, and finish third in tournaments he has done, but let's focus more on this cannon rush at Sen's natural. Grubby has gone for the Forge Fast expand, but he is putting that Forge to good use. He put it behind his main mineral line, so it's not necessarily an FFE, as he doesn't have too much blocking his ramp here, but he'll likely get a Gateway and Cybernetics core. There are going to be several cannons shortly going to finish here. Two of them going to finish quite soon, with one of them on the way. This one may possibly be cancelled by Grubby. I don't think he will. It will get one kill off, and I think the links should suffice. They won't exactly suffice. Grubby executing this cannon rush very well. We'll have to see whether or not Sen's going to be the defend his natural. This other cannon will die. The Queen is out, so it seems as though Sen going to hold this off with expert micro, but at what cost we will have to see. 4 workers killed for Grubby, and only 1 for Sen, as he just killed the probe that came in here to build all those cannons. But I would argue it keeps Sen on his toes, and he's kind of wary now of what Grubby could be doing. Also might be deluded into thinking he has an advantage, because Grubby did FFE, and Sen knows about this though. So I don't think at high levels, when you're in the BWC, I don't exactly think you cannon rush as an all-in. You would just do it as a kind of distracting harass to throw your opponent off his game. Sen, by the way, has indeed been cursed to finish third in tournaments. He's finished third in NASL Season 1, NASL Season 2, and a couple other major tournaments. So if you ever see an international tournament that Sen's at, no matter the kind of caliber that the other players in the tournament are, he will find a way to finish third. Never second, never first, but third. Because he called Day9 a newbie at one point, I believe. As Day9 was a pro gamer in Brood War, but now is a caster, and of course a renowned strategist with his Day9 daily netcast. But he called Day9 a newbie in SC2 after they formally practiced in Rudor. Anyway, there's a YouTube video for that story specifically. Check that out. But the Lings of Sen are definitely checking out the destructible rocks leading into this alternate path into the natural Grubby. He does know about it. Does Sen know about Grubby's knowing about it? Yes, he does. So Sen's just trying to say, if you wanna come and play unorthodox against me, I'll do the same to you. Grubby chronoing out stalkers off of 2 gateways. He's going to build another gateway here, and probably another building just to block this off temporarily while he waits for the Russian to be over. Is there a leak here? I do not believe so. There's a full choke. The Lings will be able to destroy this power line. Grubby gets the cancel off in time. He wouldn't be such a high-level player if he wasn't able to get cancels off. Grubby's not able to get the pylon down. If he could block off the Zergling's exit path, that could be crucial. He could get a lot of kills here and just completely deny Sen's harassment at a cost to his opponent. Not a great cost, but this little clump of 6 Lings would indeed cost... Well, let's see. I think is it 2 Lings per egg? I do reckon so. So they would only cost something like 75. Is it 25 for 2? Really? I think it's 50 for a pair of Lings. So I don't know the math. I'm not a Zerg player. I might soon become a Zerg player because of how overpowered they are. But for now, I'm still loyal to the brethren, my brethren of Ire. And now Sen's Spinecrawler is loyal to his Zerg forces. As the Taiwanese are getting a surround on 1 stalker. Nice kill there. Not too many Lings. So about 4 Lings die trading for 1 stalker. That's fairly reasonable if we look at our units lost. Grubby's lost more, about twice over. So he's 8 units lost, but 1,000 resources. Sen's lost 18 units, 550. That just really shows the Zerg's mechanic of being inexpensive, but plentiful. And the Protoss units, though small in numbers, they are large in power. Sen's gotten a nicely saturated third. I have no idea what kind of a style he's going to be playing. He's going for 1-1, so he's gone for a quick double Evo. Getting his metabolic boost, no tech on the way. He's still on hatch. He has no Roach Warren anywhere to my knowledge. No other tech buildings besides that double Evo. So he's playing a very greedy style right now. And Grubby knows this. He has scouted 2 bases, saw this 1 Spinecrawler in recent week's creep spread, and he's only seen Lings so far. Oh, and now he's going to have this observer. So I have a good feeling that he senses that his opponent is playing greedy, as Sen's only now getting Lair Tech. So Grubby's decided to get his 3rd, get his Chrono out some Immortals, get his Twilight Council, and now Sen wants to punish him for it. He popped out something like 36 Lings in 1 wave. He's up to 47 total now. And he says, look, I've got these cheap tier 1 units, but you've overextended yourself. I'm a Zerg player. I can play greedy and then still take my tier 1 units and punish you with them in mass. We'll have to see how well Grubby's able to execute his force fields reasonably well. None of his sentries too vulnerable there. But the Lings of Sen will be able to besiege his 3rd base. Is Grubby going to cancel? But that's the wise decision at this point. He will do so. So Sen says, look, buddy, you can grab 2 bases. You can grab a reasonable amount of tech. But do not try me in grabbing a 3rd base so quickly. I can get my 3rd, but you're not getting yours. He's going straight to Infestation with the Roach Warren as well. He's gotten his Lair Tech finished at his 3rd base. That's quite interesting to throw his opponent off, because Grubby might not scout this. He has seen the Lair at the 3rd. Okay, that would be very, very intelligent, though, because if Grubby was able to bring his Observer just into the main and natural, and then Sen had an Overseer and sniped it, Grubby would not have any idea that his opponent went for Lair. So smart little tactic there from Sen. Might have worked on another player. Didn't work here on Grubby, who is getting his weapons level 2. He has his 1 weapons already researched, and his blink on the way. So we've seen a very similar game to this in Baby Knight versus Snoot game number 2. Don't ask me how I remember this. This was a while back on my channel, but Baby Knight moved out with Sentry Immortal, and not as many Zealots, but a lot more Stalkers, a huge clump of Blink Stalkers, few Immortals, and a lot of Sentries. I don't even know if there are Immortals in there, but the point of the reference being, Baby Knight won the game because he slowly and progressively pushed across the map with phenomenal force fields. His opponent had so many more roaches, such a larger army, but he was just able to slowly ward off the roach assault. I don't know if Grubby's going to be able to do the same here. I really wanted to get that do out. But Sen, he's gotten a couple of Sentries, it looks like he's weakened one of these immortals here. He might be able to snipe it. No, very well microed there from Grubby using force fields to repel the roaches. So Sen cannot reinforce from his main. There's some stalkers coming in from the back. This one immortal will indeed die. The sentries, how low are they on energy? We're going to pop up this little menu here to see. Not any force fields left, so it looks like Grubby just going to be completely overwhelmed. Did that do so much for him? 25 total workers killed. So if we look at our units tab, 56 probes to 62 drones. Sen can replenish those drones, but is it necessarily worth it, or will he just push out across the map and kill his opponent? But Grubby doing the Grubby style War Prism drop, my favorite against the Zerg player. You drop some sentries in the main, you continue to force field the ramp leading into the main, and you kill your opponent outright. Absolutely phenomenal play here from Grubby. I actually executed this in one of my games a very long time ago, and it's so easy to do as long as you catch your opponent off guard. It's so easy to execute. You've just gotta be a little bit careful with your force field timings and make sure you chain them. Because even if you miss one, your opponent is desperate to get back into his main, so he can kill you and overwhelm your forces with just one missed force field. But Grubby is executing all of his perfectly on cue. There's a good amount of infested Terrans dropped in the main here. They do have one Carapace. I don't know whatever happened to one missile attacks. Was that being researched? No, it was one melee attacks. I think these links have 1-1. So the infested Terran's going to stall Grubby's forces, but the spawning pool is going to die. Sen already replenishing some of his tech. He's gotten a lot of infestors, but he's going to lose his main. Very, very intelligent of him to get the lair at the third, because if he lost the lair in his main, it would be impossible for him to recover from this, and I would greatly fear for his well-being in the long term. His status in this game. I mean, some Zergs, like I like to call it, when you do this kind of Grubby style tactic, you like to kick up the hornet's nest, and all the hornets just kind of go and swarm your body. Let's say the body or the skin is your main. I don't know if Grubby was getting a third here. I was focused way too much on the main of Sen, but it is possible that a good amount of fungos, by the way, going off on some of Grubby's Blink Stalkers here. He's losing a fair amount of them. But I don't know if Grubby was getting a third or not. If so, he did lose it, so he's stuck on 2 bases, but his opponent is as well. He's been forced to replenish a lot of drones. He's down to only 33, 51 total workers killed for Grubby. So even if he's stuck off 2 bases, I still, by the way, I do apologize for having missed that, but if you saw him getting the third, then you can tell, if you actually watch the mini-map like a responsible caster would do, then you could tell that Sen got some sort of retaliation, but even if he did, he's far behind in this game right now. If you're a Zerg on 35 drones, your opponent's at 55 probes, this does not bode well for you. Very good chain fungos going off on the sentries of Grubby. That's pretty expensive if you are a Protoss player in this game. So we have 10,000 resources lost for Sen, 8,000 for Grubby. I'm sure a couple thousand of them came easily from that chain fungal on the sentries, but now Grubby going to evacuate his forces as best he can here. Some of the stalkers blinking down. Will all of our troops be able to get out? This is such an epic tale of bravery. Will the stalker left behind? So that some military movies have said no man left behind, but that poor stalker, he was expecting to be saved. His blink recharge was not quite there. He's like, okay, you're ferrying me out, right? War Prism, these infested Terrans are totally not going to swarm me and slaughter me, right? But sadly, in a non-Hollywood fashion, he did die to some infested Terran shots. Pretty anticlimactic. Climactic or climatic. I always say climatic, but I think it's climactic. Anyways, Sen is getting a Spire over here at his ever-important third, ever-important in terms of tech. Grubby, meanwhile, is getting a Robotics Bay up here in the main. If Sen managed to knurl a bunch of sentries in succession in Grubby's main and force field the ramp, then he would be able to completely set his opponent back because he'd kill all his tech. But that's only something that I would go out on a limb and say retired StarCraft Pro Destiny would do. I'm a huge fan of Destiny, but he's now playing League of Legends because of some of his disputes with various community members, notably in Control and Indra, and his view on the current state of the StarCraft 2 competitive scene. More on that maybe in a separate video, just an opinion video, if you guys are interested in that. I don't know if you want to hear me rambling or if you just want to watch me cast, but Sen really just wants to watch Grubby's third base fall yet again, as he's still behind in this game. He's finally been able to get back up to 62 drones, but we'll have to see how well he's able to micro this here. Reasonably good force fields from Grubby. If he had some Colossi out on the field, that would do him a lot of justice, as these infested Terrans just dealt with so easily by Colossi, especially when they have range. Grubby is getting both of those, but one Colossus will only now finish. Grubby blinking forward, able to repel Sen very well. These infestors extremely vulnerable. I don't know if they have thorough research or not. I do not believe so. So they are just going to be hopeless in retreating, and just watch the units lost tab and resources lost just jumping up by several hundred per shot. Grubby carving out a huge lead in this game. Even though they're even on supplies, it looks like Grubby's going to be able to take this one. Unless he's overwhelmed here by Sen, who gets a very nice engagement point. Not very well-positioned force fields here from Grubby, and his Colossus is vulnerable. He doesn't want to let it get baited out here by the roaches and then get sniped, because that can be completely battle-changing. And there goes the Colossus. So Grubby still has some Immortals and Stalkers and Zealots. He has a lot of all those. There was just one Colossus. It's not always the end of the world. But it looks like he's going to run over Sen's fourth base and march into the third defiantly. Oh, he's going for the extractor, so they're just like, wait. We don't want, if this came down to a base race, every building counts, right? So Grubby is going to move into the third any time now, because if he kills this third, he essentially wins himself the game. No more Lair, no more Spire. Grubby even getting his Templar Archives, chronoing out a robotics bay that's not researching anything. Has a lot of chronos saved up on his main, a reasonable amount on his natural. Grubby, you've got a lot of chronos saved up. I know you're microing your forces, but your macro is slipping. And of course, this happened a couple weeks ago, so he probably can't hear this advice, but he is getting that reactionary Templar Archives. Always an intelligent idea as his opponent, although he is very, very far behind in terms of bases, does still have a few Corruptors on the field. And with Corruption, if it's used well, that can deal a lot of damage to a Protoss player's Colossi. So it looks like the income tab actually showing Sen's not doing too badly, but the main problem here is that he's close to mined out. His timer is ticking. He needs to reestablish his fourth. He's doing so, and my mouse going completely awry on me. There's the pointer. I thought my pointer just completely disappeared and some weird cinematic mode took over. But we may need a weird cinematic mode, because there is a battle approaching. Sen just waiting to engage. He needs to get a very, very good one here in order to take this game. Is Grubby getting Storm? I've got to pop up this little menu again. Watch the most epic part of the battle happen as soon as I pop it open. No Storm on the way, but we do have that epic battle, and I am here to see it. The Corruptors chasing down the Colossus of Grubby. There is Corruption used there, intelligently so, like I mentioned. The Infestors not doing too much damage. Neither are Sen's Roaches. He realizes this, calls the GG, and there goes the game to Grubby. I do not even remember which game this was. This was game 2 between the two, to my knowledge. So that one does indeed go to Grubby. And guys, hope you enjoy this cast. I'll probably bring you a couple more BWC games. I'm not sure when the IPL 5 replays are going to be released, if at all. But catch you whenever. And I hope you enjoy this replay. Be ready to see a few more PvZs or ZVZs. I'll try to find a good replay file somewhere with a Terran in it, or without a Zerg, maybe a TVP. Remember that matchup? Catch you guys.